the 13th. This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com with a daily wrestling news update. The Dark Side of the Ring Road Warriors documentary was aired last night. I did a review on it. You could find it on this channel. Hawk, of course, Hawk didn't comment on it, but Animal commented they had a couple mistakes. One was about an issue with Hawk. Animal says it was Hawk that quit the team, not Animal. Animal says he never would have quit the team. He also made the correction that LOD, the Legion of Doom, was taken from the Super Friends cartoon, not the He-Man cartoons, as stated on the Dark Side of the Ring. I found that weird too, because I did like He-Man as a kid, and I had no recollection of any Legion of Doom references on He-Man, so I don't know how they screwed that one up, really. In other wrestling news, Sami Zayn has been stripped of the Intercontinental title. Many are saying this is believed to be because he is not wrestling due to the pandemic happening right now. So that's his choice, I guess, not to wrestle. It could also be an angle. You never know with wrestling. But healthy guy, I don't know really why he would not want to wrestle if they're giving him a push, but it's up to him. It's his choice, his decision. And obviously, even if these wrestling companies say choosing not to work isn't going to affect your push, of course it's going to affect your push and plans, because there's other people there that are always willing to jump in your place in wrestling. I've heard Kevin Owens has had like a sprained ankle since WrestleMania, and he's been taking months off now. It's also rumored it might be because of the pandemic, but Owens is using the sprained ankles as an excuse. But in the old days, you wouldn't even take one day off for a sprained ankle. You just keep going. But we all know he's not one of the more tough wrestlers in the world, so that might have something to do with it too. CM Punk, Otis, and Ricky Steamboat were all on the WWE Backstage show last night, which scored a 0.05 rating, 173,000 viewers. Johnny Boy just tipped me $2.99. Thank you very much, Johnny Boy. Love the tips. Wrestling Inc. is reporting that Ric Flair has signed a new contract with WWE, which would mean that he won't be making any appearances for AEW. Obviously, if he's re-signed with WWE. Arizona Governor Doug Ducey announced today that major sports leagues can now record in Arizona without fans. So that means WWE, UFC, or AEW could all run in those states. However, I don't see why you would travel around that much if you could only do shows in front of empty fans, empty arenas. So, for instance, if WWE is already set up at the Performance Center, why would they drive across the country from Florida to Arizona just to put on a show in front of no fans and add that extra travel cost? So I don't expect WWE to move out of recording from Florida unless Florida somehow doesn't allow them to tape anymore, or another state opens them up to allow to do tapings with fans, because obviously if there's somewhere that's going to let them do tapings with fans, they're probably going to go there. I've heard Dana White say that he's very happy running in Florida too right now, because Jacksonville has been very good to the UFC, and they are going to run Fight Island starting in June apparently, but that has more to do with international fighters like Khabib, that supposedly if they go into the States, maybe they won't be allowed into the States due to border restrictions, or maybe they won't be allowed back to their own country from the States. I know I've heard today that it looks like the Canadian to U.S. border is probably going to be closed until July. So I don't think I'll be doing any in-person shoot interviews till July, unfortunately. I am supposed to do one with Ricky Morton soon, very possibly Austin Idol, and I'll keep searching around. Joe Road Warrior Animal told me today he's going to do a Skype with me soon, so hopefully he will. I'll get into some of your questions now, but first I posted a compilation video about Bill DeMott today that is one of the funnier ones. He's definitely a strange guy, and I don't know how long he lasted, as long as he did with WWE. The only reason I could think of is that they actually liked what he was doing, why he lasted so long. Other misses, click, ding. Chris Lee says, is he pregnant too? I think that might be having to do with Sami Zayn. Of course, Becky Lynch is pregnant. Also, by the way, Khabib's father from the UFC, Khabib, his father's in critical condition right now in Russia. Dustin Novat says, Sammy is a pussy boy, fucking COVID-19 scam. I'm still waiting for them to reopen the gyms and also the cancer specialist so I can get my damn skin cancer thing removed. I'm so frustrated by this skin cancer issue. Anthony says, if it's an angle, wouldn't you want to air that on TV to get heat? Sammy is supposed to be a heel. Is Sammy supposed to be a heel? That's funny, because didn't he get a fan kicked out of a building not too long ago for offending him? I agree he is a pussy for that. If you can't take some negative comments by fans, wrestling's the wrong business to be in, especially as a heel. I not only get negative comments, but I get various threats on a daily basis. Some asshole even threatened to slap my cute little dog, which that motherfucker was blocked. That would be actually a death wish. If anyone ever touched my dog, I would kill them. Mike Marop says, it's hilarious that Zayn waited all this time for a title and now he's refusing to work. I personally know hundreds of wrestlers that would jump into his spot. So we all know for healthy people, there is like a 99% recovery rate over this COVID-19, yet they want us all to live in fear, live in this shitty world where we all have to sit in our houses all day. I don't want to live in this type of world. That's my opinion, but it's the truth. I find it fucking depressing. I'm so sick of this. And I understand how some people are killing themselves already over this. I'm not at that point, but I don't want to live in this world of fear that's going on right now. Riza Moritsoki says, I've been watching your matches and holy shit, I wish you would have been in WWE. Well, they did sign me back in 2009, but Abdullah the Butcher unfortunately infected me with Hep C, and my contract was taken away. They offered me an NXT tryout in 2016 that they were actually going to pay my travel for and everything, but mysteriously it was canceled about a week before, so that shows me that somebody in the upper echelon of WWE didn't want to give me a second chance. Maybe because I'm not Google friendly. If you search my name, all that Hep C stuff pops up, even though I'm cured. It's a curable disease. It's even in the Road Warriors documentary last night that Hawk had it and was cured. And by the way, he wrestled in WWE since being cured of Hep C, and I've wrestled for Impact since being cured of Hep C. And WWE saw my paperwork before giving me a tryout, but none of that matters because I'm doing great on YouTube, getting more hits these days. The Ring of Honor, MLW, New Japan, and NWA. So I don't wish any bad on any of them, but I'm impressed that I'm doing so well. And I'm always searching. I'm working very hard for it, always searching for new interviews. Krilling876, thank you for the $2 tip. You were put over by Revenge of CIS YouTube show. Haven't heard of that one, but thanks for the tip. This guy is one of my most regular tippers. Krilling876. I've been having a lot of new Patreon subscribers lately over at patreon.com/the Hannibal TV. Those people get to watch my shoot interviews ad-free before they're posted full on YouTube. So more important than that, they're helping me get more interviews. My regular job shut until minimum July. So YouTube is what I'm working at now, and I appreciate all the help that you guys are giving me. Dustin Nova, love your channel. Thanks for the love. What do I think about Vince and the Man angle for controversy about getting pregnant? Honestly, I don't know much about Becky Lynch. I really don't know much about her, other than she's the most popular female in WWE, and she's pregnant with Seth Rollins' child. And I think I read Becky Lynch makes like $3.5 million a year, and Seth makes $4 million a year. So I would say they're the highest paid couple in WWE as well. Douglas Walther says Team Blood Hunter. We haven't heard much about the Blood Hunter since all wrestling has pretty much been shut down due to the pandemic. There was a rumor that the Blood Hunter was the guy that Kevin Sullivan hired to murder Chris Benoit. So that I found that rumor pretty funny, but it would make sense that for the conspiracy theorists that think Sullivan did it, that he would have hired someone like the Blood Hunter to do it, who could have easily manhandled Benoit. Chiroon Hernandez says Dark Side of the Ring should make a documentary about Stone Cold Steve Austin. Wouldn't surprise me if they would. Why are heels afraid to get heat these days? Darius Curry says. There's no heels with heat. This came up in the Baby Dolls interview. There's no heels with heat. I think I'm one of the few heels that could do it. I'm not a true heel now. Definitely not. The whole point why I'm putting you fans over, because I appreciate your support. But I think I'm one of the few. If I didn't have to do YouTube and I could just be a wrestler, I think I'd be one of the few heels with heat. Lesnar is probably the closest thing to a true heel right now. Could I interview Candy Devine? I can, and maybe I will someday. C4P, I won't mention that. I don't know anything about that, other than it was settled. There was no, you can't, like, if something was settled and there was no formal charges laid, then it's settled quietly. You can't really cover it, and the people involved can't talk about it. So when the people directly involved can't talk about it, I don't think it would make a very good documentary topic related to that Steve Austin stuff. Download Convention says, who is the father of Becky Lynch's child, Seth or Otis? I would guess it's probably Seth. If they're paid that much, their child will be well cared for. Woody Eyeball says, yes, I agree. Chris Lee, heels don't even do small things like poke an eye and hand stomps anymore. Yeah, I don't know. I like the old heels. I really like the Mad Dog Vachons and the original Sheiks. Even I'll give him credit. He is a heel of a person, but he's beyond a heel. He's pretty much a criminal, in my opinion, Abdullah, but he was at least a good heel. He was legitimately that character. but he didn't break kayfabe during the years he was popular. Hybrid Eye 78. Any chance I can interview Tito Santana? I do have a short interview with him on here that I did not too long ago. A long one, probably. Pete G says, I don't mind a lot of acting and wrestling, but when it gets too much like a soap opera is when I don't like it. Have I interviewed Raven? Mark Gallio says, the reason I haven't interviewed Raven is because he charges a lot, and there's a lot of interviews out there for Raven already, so I don't know if I would make my money back on it. I wouldn't be opposed to it necessarily, but right now his price is not in my budget for the hits I would think it would have. Interview with Cyrus. I don't really like him. I don't like him as a person. The Real Frisco, you don't need millions to have a child well cared for. Yes, I agree with that. You do not need millions to have a child that's well cared for. There's millionaires that don't care for their child well. Piper was a great heel. Loose Cannon 88. Yes, he was. I 100% agree with you there. Would I interview Herb Abrams? He's dead. Can I interview Curtis Axel? He probably has a no-compete clause for 90 days, but if I run into him, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I used to be, I don't even know if she remembers me or not, but I was friends with his sister, Amy Hennig, during a Harley race camp I did at one point in time. And I remember partying with her one night, and she was getting me to do the gargling with the Jack Daniels that her father was known for. And she was a lot of fun to go out with. I remember that. Have you ever thought of contacting, starting a wrestling promotion in French? Honestly, I don't think there's much money in wrestling promotions these days. I have Great North Wrestling. At one point, we did have a French Great North Wrestling YouTube channel, but for some reason, YouTube took the channel down. I think they were confused, and they thought that because I was using my match videos just on a different channel with French commentary, I think they thought I was actually stealing footage, even though it was my own footage. But we were starting to get a following from that, and they took it down, and then it seemed like all my work on that went for nothing, so I never wanted to do it again. Do I have an address where I can get fan mail? Woody Eyeball. If you email greatnorthwrestling@gmail.com, you could send a message that will get to me. I do check that account, and there's some other people that also check that account. So it won't necessarily be me that first sees it, but the message will eventually get to me. And I do get a lot of messages on there. And if you want to mail me something, like if anyone wants me to do a review of Steve Austin's beer, we can't buy it in Canada. If you want to send me some to review, I will do a live stream and drink it and review it. He said he was going to send me some, but obviously he's got a lot of things on his mind. Sending me beer is probably not his first thing on his list. Same with the Chris Jericho champagne. If someone wants to send me some of that, I will also sample that. Anthony says Vince blew it with Joe Hennig. Pete C, really like the interviews of wrestlers commenting on the Road Warriors. Yes, I highly suggest to people to watch my video of wrestlers commenting about the Road Warriors. Bring Glacier to the next Great North Wrestling show to Pembroke. I'll be honest, I don't think Great Glacier would draw. But by the way, if anyone ever wants to sponsor me a shoot interview, like pay for a whole interview, I'll do it. I'll interview that person. Or if someone wants to pay for me to bring a wrestler to Great North Wrestling, and we'll put the match on YouTube and we'll say this match is dedicated to the person that sponsored that wrestler, I'll do it. Am I ever going to interview Typhoon? Hernandez asks. I was supposed to a few years ago, but he got really sick when I was in Tampa and he couldn't do the interview. So one day I hope to do it. Do I think Seth is the best heel WWE has seen in a long time? Balls don't lie worldwide. No, because the ratings don't reflect that. They're getting worse ratings than ever. I'm not a fan of that guy personally. If you guys like him, go ahead. He comes off as an unlikable person, but not an unlikable person that I want to watch, just an unlikable person like he's on. Let me not click on this video, or let me change the channel. Interview Rick Martel. Justin Martin says he doesn't want to do one with me. I've asked him many times. He only lives 4 hours away from me, but he doesn't want anything to do with the wrestling business anymore, he told me. Would I be willing to interview Zack Ryder, who Hybridized 78 calls POS Ryder? I honestly, this channel likes old school wrestlers. Whenever I do new school wrestlers, such as the Daniel Puder, who was recently interviewed on here, gets a lot of negative feedback. So Zach, I don't like him personally because he treated me like shit personally. So I don't know why I would give him any publicity of being on this channel. And he's not a popular guy, really. Like, he was fired. He wasn't fired because he was popular. He was fired because nobody cared about him anymore. So why would I put him on this channel? Big C, would GNW buy WWE for the right price? No. I could never afford that, and nor would I. I don't really want to run a wrestling company. I like doing interviews. I like Great North Wrestling, being able to run here and there whenever I get the urge to run. If it ever had a TV deal, that would be great, and I could build it from scratch. I'd rather build something from scratch or from what I already have established than buy another company, but that's not ever going to happen. Nathan Justice, ever meet Bad News Allen? Yes, I did his tribute show. I get that question all the time. I was a friend of Bad News Allen's. C4P says, yes, I have zero interest in Ryder. Bookie Bird says, the Road Warrior Dark Side of the Ring was awesome. Have I interviewed Akeem? Not yet. Knife It 30, best food supplement for muscle growth. Well, the egg white cartons, those egg whites are the best for muscle growth. I drink those every day since I was like 13. Mark Zero, interview Pat Patterson. He doesn't want to do one with me. I saw him at the Cauliflower Alley Club. I believe it was last year. And he did not remember me, for one thing. And he also didn't want to do even a 5-minute interview with me. And that's even after I told him I read his book and liked his book. So even after he found out that I bought his book, he didn't want to do an interview with me. So obviously that's never going to happen. Orlo Myers got an interview with Ryback. He wanted way too much money, and he doesn't, like, first of all, he messaged me. I've said this story before, but he messaged me on Twitter, even though I never ever contacted him on Twitter, just to tell me that he blocked me on Twitter because I got that question before, and I said I didn't want to interview him for $4,000 for an hour because I'll never make that money back, which I'm sorry, but that's the truth. And also 4,000 American times 4,000 by $1.38, and that's what it is in Canadian. So probably that's 5,000 or more Canadian, and I'm not even working my regular job right now. So if I'm going to spend 4,000 on an interview, Jesse Ventura is $5,000. I'll pay the extra $1,000 and interview one of my all-time heroes. Sam Lenz, any cancer doctor news? Bad news. I hate the healthcare system here in Canada. The doctors are not working. They're only doing phone consultations. The cancer specialist that is supposed to remove this from my shoulder told me he's not taking any appointments right now because he's not working due to the lockdown. He's only doing phone appointments. So then I contacted my family doctor, who literally took weeks to call me back, and she informed me that I did not qualify for emergency surgery on this and that she put it in his hands. So it's all in his hands now. So she basically passed it off to him. So I'm supposed to have another phone appointment with him next week, but I'm highly disappointed in the healthcare system here in Canada. Another reason why I want to move to the US. I know you got to pay for healthcare there, but anytime I've had to go to the hospital in the US, the healthcare system has been far better than Canada. 463 PR, is Billy Graham's health okay? Yes, he's not okay, but he's stable. He still has a lot of health issues. He's being very careful during this lockdown, as he is one of the people that would probably die if he caught this. So like everyone that would probably die if they caught this, those at-risk people, do what Billy Graham's doing, stay inside. For those of us like me that are normal, fuck, you don't see me walking around with a mask on out there. I don't hold anything against people that do, but fuck, give me my freedom and give me my right to work out. As Jesse Ventura says, this is like martial law that we've allowed to happen. This is like volunteer martial law that we're just allowing to happen. I'm complaining about it, but I'm allowing it to happen. Here in America, they are trying to make our healthcare system like Canada. Tim Berry is saying, well, I've even heard Brock Lesnar say that when he had that diverticulitis, or however you pronounce it, he originally went to a Canadian hospital and almost died. So our healthcare system sucks. Like, we're not even giving people chemotherapy right now, from what people have told me directly. So everything, no one else's health matters unless you have COVID-19 right now. And there's only 60,000 approximately cases in our entire country of Canada right now. Michael B just tipped me $2, says, keep up the good work. Warlord shoot interview. Very possibly. Yes, I would like to see that one. Really would like to see that one. And thank you again, Michael B, for that tip. I'm going to stop it at that tip. And for Herc Zeus, it says, Canadian hospitals are fine. Well, you haven't had the experiences I've had. When I had Hep C, my first treatment didn't work. My first doctor practically abandoned me. I had to go to the US. Billy Graham got me an appointment with his specialist in Phoenix. I ended up getting cured from a treatment recommended by that specialist. After they told me in Canada it would be 8 years before I would be able to qualify for another treatment. So the healthcare system in Canada fucking sucks.